Hello, good evening, Shanae. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, teacher. Good evening. Yes, everything's fine.
Great. Good to know, Shanae. So let's begin. This is going to be like the last contact we're going to have related to this course, all right, writing and reading. The next course, you're going to be working with speaking, listening. So the approach is going to be different, right? Instead of working with essays and so on, you're going to be working with oral presentations and things related to these two skills, speaking and listening. Now, as I always do at the end of the course, I want to ask you some questions related to these skills to know perhaps what are the things that you perceive, all right, from yourself that you need to improve, Sharai. So the first question is the following. In terms of, first of all, speaking, all right, first of all, speaking, can you tell me, first, let's begin with, let's say, strengths, all right? What are two positive things, two strengths that you believe that you have in speaking, and what are two weaknesses that you have in speaking, Shay?
Well, I'm not sure, but one strength is that I have a good pronunciation. That's because I listen a lot of music in English. I watch a lot of series in English with subtitles, and that's one strength. Then uh, I don't know if I have another, but a weakness. I have a lot of big problem with the syntaxes, with the grammar, with the syntaxes is the most important, I think, and the grammar a little, and that's all.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's important for me, right, to see how you see yourself, and then later on, perhaps we're going to see that objectively. But let's keep going. Now, in terms of listening, the same. Perhaps it's related to what you said. Sharai, watch a lot of series, movies, but what you consider again are your strengths in listening and your weaknesses.
Mm, in listening, I don't know. Maybe a strength is that well, I'm not sure, but I think it's more a weakness because I sometimes I couldn't understand a lot what the people saying. Is uh, when I speak with a person, yes, it's more easily to understand. But when I'm see a movie or when I'm listening a song, I didn't understand completely all the song, and until I have to read the lyrics or read the subtitles in English. That's when I understand completely. But then, yes, I understand. When I talked with a person, that that's more easy to understand.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now, also related to listening, perhaps in terms of accent, the series that you watch, the movies that you watch, Sharai, what is the accent, the English accent that you listen the most? Is it American English, British English? And
Mm.
besides that one, what is the accent that you like the most?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. Sometimes I couldn't um mm, I couldn't understand a lot the accents, British or American, but I like the most the British accent. So sometimes I try to see movies or series when they are in English, in British English, I think, or in British accent.
Okay, good. It's good to know, yes, because for some people, for example, they are so used to American English that when they listen to British English, they sometimes cannot understand, right? Because there are some differences in pronunciation, vocabulary, and many things, right, that change. Perhaps it's not a lot because it's not a different language, but there are interesting things that are different. Okay, good. Perfect. Now, I'm asking that because in this course, you're going to be working with listening exercises and so on, and listening perhaps to different kinds of accents. Now, the opposite, perhaps, Sharai, if your favorite is a British accent, is there any kind of accent that you don't like or is hard for you to understand in English?
Well, I don't know a lot about the accents. I only know about the British accent or the American, but I don't I don't hear any other accent that I didn't like.
Okay, okay, good. Perhaps we're going to be exploring, or in the program, I'm going to recommend that it's interesting to explore a little bit with accents, because yes, of course, it's not something that we need to know, but it's interesting because you're going to get to know people from around the world, right? English is like a universal language, and you're going to be facing many kinds of situations in which the English you're going to be listening to is not that English that we are used to, right? So, for example, the Irish, right? The Irish English tends to be very, very hard to understand. Some people also don't understand that much the Australian accents, but it varies, right? It varies depending on the experience you have with English itself. Now, all right, I have an idea with all that information. That's really important. Now, I want to work in a short feedback, all right, related to the course that we just got. We work with writing and reading. Perhaps for some of you it was really hard, but also I think that in some other ways it was also something kind of easy in the sense that you were applying everything you knew. But I want to know what you think about the course itself, Sharai, with these two questions. What are the positive aspects that you can perhaps mention related to this course, which was writing and reading? And what are things, and it can be one, two, I don't know, the number of things you want to mention that you would like to change. All right, so positive things and things that you would like to change related to writing and reading course. What do you say?
Mm, I don't know, teacher. I think that all the course it was good. I learned a lot about the essays, the how to use commas and semicolons, and I think that everything's good. Um, I practice a lot with that method, and I liked it.
All right, that's great. That's really great to know. Yes, I also believe that perhaps these two courses, writing, reading, and speaking and listening, are the best courses that we got because of the practical way, right, of applying that knowledge. Perhaps something that you would like to add to make it better for you. Is there some kind of content perhaps that you will also like to cover? Perhaps in the future, right? You want to improve your writing skills. What other things would you like to learn in a writing and reading perhaps course?
I'm not sure because I didn't know maybe all a lot of aspects about that. But I think it's everything's okay for now because I said right that I didn't learn about I learned all the aspects that that are in the writing or reading sections.
All right. Yes, yes. It's hard to identify content, right? Even when you know the contents, it's hard to know which ones are the best to teach or to structure right a course. I think it worked very, very well. In case you have something in mind, you can let me know, right? If you feel some parts of the course were not as strong, perhaps to work it differently. Now, finally, I would like to show you more or less what's going to be the course that you're going to be working on next month, well, this month actually, Sharai, it's going to be again related to speaking and listening. Everything again is going to be practical. And the big difference is that we are not going to have those files in which we are going to write. All right. So you're not going to be writing sentences or write any sentence. Instead, you're only going to be speaking a lot. So something that it's advisable, and I want to tell you because you sometimes I think use your computer or laptop instead of your cell phone, right, because of the microphone or something like that. So it's important for the next course that you have access to a device that is going to let you record in class, right, while you are in the meeting. Perhaps if it's hard for you to get it, it doesn't matter if you have to leave the meeting, right, for 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then come back. But it would be great if you can stay in the meeting because I'm going, or the stopwatch is going to be shown, and you're going to have, let's say, 2 minutes or 1 minute to give an answer, and you have to record yourself, and you need to control and time it. So, do you think that you have all the devices you need to work in that way, Sharai? Is it going to be hard for you to do it?
Mm, I don't know. Maybe I could connect um, a microphone to my computer to get a better access to the microphone. I don't know if that could works, but then I don't know what else I can do.
No, it's okay. For example, right now, where are you connected from, Sharai? Are you using your laptop right now, your computer?
No, I'm connected by my cell phone.
Okay, good. So yes, let's see. All right, let's see. As I told you, Sharai, I'm just letting you know this because sometimes for some people it's kind of uncomfortable to leave the meeting and do it. But in case, all right, we don't have a better way of doing it, it doesn't matter. Sometimes when you use the recorder, right, in your cell phone, and the apps that are like working on the background, right, they stop working, and sometimes you leave the meeting even without wanting to do it. So I think that's going to happen. It doesn't matter at the end, but I'm telling you because it's important that you have in mind that you're going to be recording a lot. Why? Because instead, again, of writing exercises, you're going to be recording your answers. We're going to watch a lot of videos, a lot of content for listening exercise. You're going to explain by speaking, right, what you were able to understand. You're going to imitate accents. You're going to imitate words. And you're going to be working a lot with those recordings because those recordings are going to be the evidence as the essays, right, as the um, classwork files that we had. Instead of having a written right evidence, you're going to have evidence that is recorded, just that one. Again, try to see that one. I'm telling you now because perhaps you're going to have some time to look for an option, but if there is no like way of doing it, it's going to be good just working with yourself on a Sharai. But again, for you to be more comfortable, if only for this month, perhaps you can look for a microphone, as you said, so that you can record something while you stay in class and you see the timer and you keep following the instructions. Just that one, Sharai. I don't know if you have any final comments or questions before finishing this, well, last session or conversation.
No teacher, no comments. Thank you.
Okay, good, very good. You're very welcome, Sharai. Then get ready, try to see some options related to what I told you. Thanks for being in this conversation. Have a great night, and I'll see you, all right? Bye bye, Sharai.
Bye, teacher. See you.
Hello, good evening, Mariana. How are you?
Good evening, teacher. Everything's fine. Thank you.
That's great, Mariana. All right, so let's begin with this. This is going to be the last conversation. It's going to be mainly a conversation than a reading session because we're going to be working with some feedback and also some questions related to the next question, right? As we always do. So I'm going to begin with these couple of questions, Mariana, and it's related to the next course, actually. Remember that next course we're going to be with speaking and listening, all right? That's what the program is offering. So either it's going to be me or it's going to be a different teacher. You're going to be working with those abilities, with those skills this time, and it's going to be very different to writing and reading in the sense that you're not going to be writing anything. Everything is going to be for speaking and of course practicing your skill. Now in that sense, Mariana, the first questions are the following: which ones do you believe are your strengths and your weaknesses in speaking, Mariana, in general? What are the strengths and the weaknesses that you have in speaking?
I think that I use a lot of basic forms to speak, and then I want to use different words and things like that. And I don't know. I get, I don't know how to say trabada when I want to speak, but I think that that's the only things.
Okay, good, good. Yes, you can say stuck, right? You can use that word, stuck, like atorado, right? I get stuck when I try to speak. All right, that's very common actually, Mariana. It's only going to disappear with time, right? And keep practicing. Good. But now I want to know your perspective. So let's leave it there. The second question is related now to listening, Mariana. The same. What are some strengths and some weaknesses that you believe that you have in listening?
I think that the only is when I heard words that I don't know. But after that, I think that I understand everything very well.
Okay, good. That's really positive to know. Now, also related to listening, you know that we have a lot of accents, Mariana, right? Not only the American accent, but also the British, the Aussie accents, the Irish accent, the European itself, right? Accents, and of course, even, right, the Latin American accent. We have a lot of accents in English. What is your favorite accent, and what is your least favorite accent in English?
I think that my favorite is British. Of course, I love this accent because I love to see movies, and I don't know if it's okay if I say series. I think
Mhm,
I
good.
that, and I always see series and movies in British, and I really like it. Yeah.
Very good. And what about your least favorite? What is the accent that you don't like that much, perhaps, or your least favorite?
I don't know. I think that I just know American and British accent. I think, or
Okay.
I don't recognize other accent. I think.
All right. All right. That's good to know because in this course, perhaps we're going to get to know different accents. All right. And that's interesting. And it's important to know, not because you need to know, right, in the sense, okay, you are British, you are Irish. No, in the sense that you're going to recognize what are the hardest parts, all right, of understanding different kinds of accents. Many people believe that the Irish accent is the most difficult accent in English. It's really hard to understand it, and many people don't like that accent because of that, because the vocabulary is different, the words are different, the pronunciation of the words, right, is very, very different. So we're going to try to explore that together, perhaps, and we're going to see which one is going to be the best for you. But it's good to know which one is your favorite. That's a good start. The next question is the following. When you told me that you watch series, movies, for example, what are your favorite artists or bands from Mariana?
Sorry, I can I understand the last part.
Oh yes. Where are your favorite artists or bands from? Right? Groups, bands.
I think that Spain. I I like the music in English, but I prefer the music in Spanish.
Okay, okay, good. And if I ask you to tell me, perhaps not to choose one, but if you are to choose one artist that is an English artist, or right, English speaking artist, which one would you choose?
I think Rihanna, Drake, and I don't know. That's my favorite, and Adele, of course.
Okay, good. Great. That's great to know because it's going to be important because, this is going to be really interesting in the speaking course. We're going to be working also with songs, with many things like that, so that we get used to some accents and we make the difference between those accents. You're going to be able to recognize the difference and it's going to help you improve your pronunciation even better. Good. Now that we mentioned that course, one thing that I want to show you, that's why I shared my screen. The big difference between these cores, because this is the A14, is that as you can see, we don't have like these classwork files anymore. And why is that? Because we are not going to be writing anything. All right. Actually, the most you're going to be writing is your PowerPoint presentation. All right. Because you're going to have oral presentations now. Instead of essays, you're going to have oral presentations in which you're going to be speaking about whatever topic you want. But the important thing here, and I want you to know this, Mariana, because I want you to be ready. Again, either it's going to be with me or with a different teacher. You're going to be recording a lot of things. For example, as we don't have, or the program is not going to ask you to write anything, the evidence of your work are going to be recordings. So in class, this is going to be in class. In class, for example, you're going to watch something or you're going to listen to something, and you're going to be asked to use your cell phone or your computer to record the answer to a question and an audio file. And you have to upload those audio files here. And that's going to be part of your in-class activities and your oral presentation. So regarding that, I want to know if you have two devices to use, Mariana, or if you have a computer that you can use, because it's going to be important that you can stay in the class while you are recording. I want to know if that's going to be possible for you. If not, we can see a different way of doing it.
Yes, teacher, I think that yes, because I see the class in my laptop, but when I am doing the homeworks, I did it in my phone because it's more easy for me to send and to write.
Okay, good, good. That's good to know because then what we're going to do is that you're going to be right in the meeting from your laptop, let's say, and when we need to record, you can grab your cell phone and record it and upload it here because we're going to be checking those recordings together. Could be in class, but it's important that you can have access to a microphone so that the next course you're going to be giving the answers and uploading your answers. All right, that's something I wanted you to know. That's it in terms of this course, the information that I wanted to give you. Now in these 5 minutes that we have, Mariana, I'm going to ask you some questions related to A13, this course that we finished. But do you have any questions about A14? I wanted to tell you more or less what this is going to be about, the characteristics of A14. Do you have any
I
questions or comments?
Yes, teacher, I wanted to know how about the homework is going to work. It's just a record to answers, or we need to do something special. I don't know.
Yes, the activities, very similar to what we did, are going to be divided in two main parts, Mariana. The first part is that you have to upload all the answers that you're going to be asked, right? For example, again, we watch a video and I tell you, right, please explain in your own words what you understood, right, from that video. Please do it in 1 minute maximum. It means that in 30 seconds, 40 seconds, you need to give me your answer, you need to upload it, and it has to be here, right, the first week. So you're going to have a lot of assignments like that, recordings. The second part is also going to be a recording. Remember what you were doing in writing, working with vocabulary. You're going to do the same, but this time you're not going to write. Instead of writing the vocabulary, you're going to read it. So you're going to look for a certain number of words, and you're going to record yourself, Luciana, reading the word and reading a short definition, right? For example, have, right? To have is to possess or to own something, period. That's the first word, right? Second, laptop. A laptop is a device that you can use, right, to work with digital content, etc., period. So that's going to be the second part. So assignments, recording the answers that you're going to be asked, all right, to answer, and reading the vocabulary again that you're going to be asked to do, but it's going to be everything recording and with your voice. All right.
Okay, teacher. And sorry, the last question is we need to read like the period, the dash, comma, and
No, no, you don't need to read that, right? I was saying that to make emphasis in that. That's
okay.
enough, right?
Yeah,
Only,
teacher.
only the word and the definition, right? To have is to possess onto or to own something. Next word, right? And you read it.
Okay, teacher. Perfect.
Okay, good. And the only thing perhaps that you need to work, not writing, you're going to have oral presentations, Mariana. It means that you need to work on, instead of writing essays, you're going to work on your PowerPoint presentations, okay? It's enough if you have short PowerPoint presentations. If you want to use only pictures, you can do it. If you want to write a little bit, you can do it, all right? Your presentations can be prepared in the way you want, Mariana, but it's important that you have your presentation as evidence, because that's what you need to upload here in the oral presentation, and that's going to be evaluated, of course, with your with the words, with your pronunciation and everything you're going to be showing in that presentation. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Perfect.
Perfect. Good. So the last questions are related to A13 in these last minutes. I think we don't need more time than that one. Are the followings. What are some things that you consider as positive from this course for you? And what are some things that you would like to change? You can mention the number of things you want, Maria, related to
Um,
writing and reading.
I don't know, teacher. I really don't like too much this course because I don't understand things that I think before that I understand, and I do it wrong. But after that, I think that I don't have any problem with the course. I think that it's very hard. Maybe because I've been in I don't know how to say, a un curso adelantado.
Okay,
Um,
one course in advance, you can say one course
one
in
course in
advance.
advance with no preparation before, just with the base that I had. But after that, I think that I don't have other problem. It was stressful because I think that I am doing well, but no.
All right. Yes, as you said, I think this was very hard. You're right, Mariana. It's something that we cannot learn in 1 month. That's also something important to know. So perhaps you can take that into account, because I believe that you're going to have the score and everything you need to go to the next course. But you can have that information there. Perhaps in the future, if you are interested in taking some international tests or working with application essays, you can take that knowledge into account, right? Because English is not only writing, of course, but writing is going to serve, right, to a specific purpose. In case, right, that in the future you're going to need to learn more about writing, you can take a look at that again. If not, you can just focus right in the most important skills for you, that can be speaking and listening. It depends, right? But again, thanks for being part of the class, Mariana. I know that it was hard, it was sometimes stressful, but it was really important to convey perhaps that knowledge. And in the future, right, or when you need it, you can return and use that knowledge again when you feel that you can use it in a different way, and it will be great. That's it then, Mariana, for today's conversation. I don't know if you have any final questions or comments before finishing.
Yes, teacher. I wanted to know when we start the next course.
Yes, as I was telling you yesterday, we're going to start on the 9th, okay? Monday, on Monday the 9th.
Okay,
It means this
perfect.
this Monday that we have.
Okay, teacher. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Perfect. You're welcome. Have a good night and see you, Mariana. Bye bye.
You too.
Hello, good evening, Luciana. How are you?
Hello, teacher. Everything's fine. Thank you.
That's great, Luciana. So let's work with this last, instead of a reading session, it's going to be last conversation. It's always about feedback or telling you about the next course. So you are prepared and you have everything you need, all right, to be ready for A14. A14 is going to be the last program that is part of executive English. Of course, if you're in a TOEFL preparation course, you still have some other courses, but perhaps this is going to be the last one. So I want to give you some information, very brief information, and ask you some questions. The only thing is, first, right, that this is going to be different to this course, very different in the sense that you're not going to write anything. Everything is going to be speaking and recording your answers, right? And do it in the way so that you can practice speaking and listening. It means that writing is not going to be evaluated and your reading is not going to be evaluated, right? It's only speaking and listening. So my first questions are the following, Luciana. In terms of speaking, which ones do you believe that are your strengths and weaknesses in speaking, Luciana?
I think that I get confused when I'm talking and try to tell a story in past, maybe.
Okay, so tenses, you can mix sometimes present and past. All right,
Sorry,
so the
that
verbs.
was my weakness. I sorry.
Okay, go ahead, please, Luciana.
And I think that my strength will be that I have not a lot of difficult respect of vocabulary because it's in my head.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So tenses, that's really interesting. We're going to be working that then. And you're telling me about, yes, I realize that you have a lot of good skills for speaking, Luciana, right? In terms of your pronunciation, the words that you know, the way you use them. So all in all, I think it's very positive, and that's great. That's great to know. Perhaps then only details are going to be for speaking and working, though the weakness, it can be a weakness, it can be something normal, but if you consider that as a weakness, it can be something that we can work, right? The next one is for listening, Luciana. The same question. What are some strengths and some weaknesses that you perceive from yourself on listening?
I think that sometimes it's a little hard for me listening like words that are like modis. I don't know how to say it in English. Like expressions, different expressions that are not usual.
Okay, good. You can call that sometimes, if they are not expressions, they are going to be slangs, or if they are not slangs, they are going to be idioms. All right, one of those things you're telling me about, slangs or idioms. Okay, yes, actually, that's really hard because of the culture, right? There is a lot of variety in terms of those idioms and slangs, but it's matter of doing it, right? Practicing and understanding that in context. Good. Now, I want to know, in terms of accents now, Luciana, which one is your favorite accent in English and which one is your least favorite accent?
I think that I like so much the British accent and the Canadian accent, but I'm not sure what is my least favorite. I don't know.
Okay, good. Perhaps if we can change that question to the following. Which one is for you the hardest? Is there a kind or an accent in English that you believe is really hard to understand?
Yes, I think that the British could be the hardest one.
Okay, good. That's interesting. You like that one, but you also believe it's the hardest, so it can be a challenge for you. And it depends, right, on the region that you are in England or Britain, that the accents can be a little bit harder, right? But it's good. It's interesting. We can um, do some research related to that. The following is to finish perhaps with this explanation, with the questions. In the next course, Maria, or sorry, Luciana, you're not going to have these files, these Google Docs files, all right? These classwork units in which you write, because you're not going to write anything. Instead of that, you are going to record your answers because everything is going to be right with speaking and listening. Now, I have a question for you, Luciana, are you going to be able to record your answers while you are in class without leaving the class? Or are you going to be using the same device and you're going to need to leave the class to upload these recordings? Do you have two devices to use, or
Yes,
how is it going to
teacher,
work for you?
I have two devices to use. I think that I will not have a problem with that.
Okay, good, good. That's great to know. Again, because now in terms of working, instead of writing exercises, you're going to upload everything you're going to record, right, in these folders. You know, for example, upload your first week in class activities. It means that you're going to be recording what? The answers, right, to a question that you're going to be asked. You're going to be explaining something that you were shown, you're going to be giving information, right, according to it was told. So all those recordings are going to be here. And also, you're going to be reading some vocabulary. Remember the vocabulary exercises you were doing in writing? It's going to be the same, but instead of writing the words, you're going to read the words and you're going to read the definition, right? You read the word, for example, have, and then you read the definition. To have is to own or to possess something, right? It means that it belongs to you. That is the next word, right? So you're going to be reading so that you can record that list of words. So everything is going to be recording. And instead of essays, you're going to have oral presentations. And that's going to be, if I'm not wrong, and if it's correct, it's either going to be every Monday or every Friday. Okay, one of those two, every Monday or every Friday. You're going to have an oral presentation of 10 minutes approximately, and you're going to need to prepare your PowerPoint presentation to talk about any kind of topic, right? And applying all the information that you're going to be learning in, well, in this course, right? Speaking and listening. I'm going to show you briefly this. It's going to be about some strategies to improve your speaking skills. It's going to be about, again, strategies and pronunciation rules when you are facing words that you don't know how they are pronounced. You're going to be learning about the structure for some international tests, and you're going to apply these in your oral presentations because it's the way you're going to answer the questions in these international tests. And you're going to see the same but related to other international tests, other ways of organizing your oral presentation, and well, right, the conclusion with some extra information that you can use with speaking. But again, everything is going to be very practical with a lot of listening exercises and a lot of speaking exercises. Now, I want to know if you have any questions related to this, Luciana. It was like an overview, right, of what you're going to be doing next course. Any questions or comments related to this? Let me know, please.
Teacher, I have one question. When I have to upload my first oral presentation or my oral presentations, is about a topic I want, or it's gonna be a specific topic for all of us?
Yes, related to that, actually, what you're going to upload here is only your PowerPoint presentation, right? Of course, it's not to specify here because the presentations are going to be in class with your partners, because part of your score is going to be listening to your partners' presentations and asking questions, because you're going to either earn some points or lose some points if you ask or if you don't ask a question to your partners. So you need an oral presentation, all right, a PowerPoint presentation. This PowerPoint presentation needs to be like in the way you want. You can write something if you want. It can be only with pictures if you want. But the thing is that you choose the topic, all right? It's going to be the topic you want. You prepare your presentation in the way you want. The only thing is that you need to follow the criteria that we have, right? It means one's going to be pronunciation, the other one is going to be vocabulary, something is going to be related to asking questions to your partners, something is going to be related to answering questions that you're being asked, all right? Those are going to be the only criteria, more or less, Luciana. But the topic and the detail of what you're going to talk about, it's going to be up to you, okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Now, I think this is what I wanted to show you. I wanted to give you, right, this idea of what you're going to be doing next course. Either it's going to be with me, either it's going to be with a different teacher, but you're going to be working with this structure. Now, the last question that I have, we only have 2 minutes, but it's more than enough. I know that for some of you, all right, this course was very complicated, difficult, and it was something new in many senses. But I want to know your last and your final perception of the course, Luciana. So perhaps it can receive some changes. It depends, right, on of what you can tell me. So in terms of writing and reading, A13, the course that we just finished with this conversation, I just need to check your last essays, but what are some things that you consider that you learned in this course that you consider as positive for you? And what are some things that you would change? What do you say related to A13?
Teacher, I think that it was a good course because it helped me to improve my writing and all the things that have to be ha, all the things with grammar, and that was great because I could see the structure of the essays or all of that stuff. So I think that I have really no complaints about the course.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know, Luciana. I think with that, everything is done. Well, that's it then, Luciana. Just don't forget to be ready for the next course. It's going to start on Monday the 9th, right? So you still have some days to prepare yourself to, right, relax these days, perhaps at night at least, to be ready for Monday. That's it. Thanks for being in today's conversation, the last session. Have a great night, Luciana, and I'll see you. All right? Take care.
Thank you, teacher. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hello, good evening, Whitney. How are you?
Good evening, teacher. I'm fine, thanks.
Great. Good to know, Whitney. So let's begin. This is going to be the last session slash conversation we're going to have. Instead of working with some reading now, I would like to work as I always do, most of the cases, with not only some feedback, but also letting you know how the next course is going to be structured. By first asking you some questions and next showing you some features that this course has for you, all right? So the first question is the following. As you know, the next course is going to be speaking and listening. You're not going to be writing anything this time. You're only going to be speaking, organizing your ideas, improving your skills. In terms of speaking first with me, what are the strengths that you think you have in speaking, and what are the weaknesses that you believe that you have in speaking?
Okay, I have a question because I think that I passed the next course, but I received a message that I start with the TOEFL preparation. I don't know is correct.
I don't know. It's weird because this is supposed to be the A14. This is supposed to be the next course after A13. It's weird. Actually, I don't know. You should be in contact. I don't know if with Melissa or if it's a different coordinator for the TOEFL preparation course. But every person that I had with me in A13 was supposed to be also in A14 before going to the preparation course. Perhaps you are going to do both at the same time with me. I don't know, A14 and the preparation course, but I don't know. Try to verify, please, because all the students that I have here, all of them are going to go to this A14. So try to contact police management because I don't know related to that preparation course replacing this one. It's weird. I'm going to ask also if they let me know something. I'm going to let you know. But as they sometimes are considered as two different things, right? We have the program, and people here study also to be ready for the preparation course. But that's also something that I don't deal with. That's why I'm not informed in terms of the TOEFL itself, only these regular courses. That's why I don't have that information, but I'm going to ask just in case Whitney, if they let me know something, I'm going to tell you, okay?
Okay, because I received this message today from Ruth Poroma, coordinadora del TOEFL garantizado, and say that it starts this night, Monday.
Weird. Perhaps they forgot that you still need to work with A14. Also, the person that you're telling me, it's not a person that I'm in contact with. So it's going to be hard for me. Try to ask her if you need to take this course, and then they are going to let me know, I guess. But I'm not sure about that message. They didn't tell me anything about that with me.
Okay, I have to ask her, right?
Yes, yes, try to ask her. And also, I don't know if you need to contact Melissa as well, because Melissa is in charge of these regular courses. I'm also part of the regular courses, right? Because sometimes the students only are at Executive English for the regular courses, and then that's it, right? Because they don't want to take the TOEFL. But there is a different group which wants to take the TOEFL, so they are part of these courses as well. They finish the program and then they go to the preparation courses. But as far as I'm concerned, that's when you finish this program. But perhaps, again, they are working on that on a different way. It's important then that you can ask that specific person, Ruth, about this, because again, I don't have information related to that. All right?
Okay, no problem.
Perfect. Okay, good. You're going to let me know. Again, if I know something, I'm going to let you know as well with me. But understanding or supposing that you're going to be continuing right in the way I was working with other students and you're going to be in A14, all right? Let's suppose that it's going to happen that way. What are some abilities, some skills that you believe that you need to work on speaking? Again, what are some strengths and weaknesses that you have in speaking?
Okay, I can to talk very well when I am not nervous, but for example, in my TOEFL test, my higher score is in speaking. I have a 22 or 21, and I think maybe it's because I don't have the enough. I don't have enough vocabulary, and for this I don't can to improve my skills in speaking.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yes, vocabulary can be like a big, right, border and boundary that we may have in terms of speaking, but it's interesting. And also it's really interesting that you got that score because that's, I think, a really good score. So we're going to identify what are the specific things that you need to work. vocabulary, it's a good idea. We're going to still work with vocabulary in the speaking course. Perhaps that's also going to help you out. But the oral presentations and everything you're going to do in this course, if you're going to be in this A14, it's going to be very, very helpful for you. Now, in terms of listening with me, the same question. What are some weaknesses and some strengths that you have in listening?
Okay, that's my poor skill because I had a nine in TOEFL listening because I missed one word. I just missed one word. I really changed all the means of the sentence, and I think that is the problem. Is my vocabulary. I don't know what does mean this word, and I don't know what does mean all the structure of the paragraph. I don't know.
Okay, yes, you're right. A word can change the entire sentence of one idea, right? You're right. Okay, then I think with you, we're going to be working that a lot. Actually, in general, right? In the course, we work a lot of listening because what we usually do is you listen to something and you're going to record your answer explaining what you were able to understand. And you're going to do that in class. So it's going to be important that you have, if it's one device, you can have a computer because you don't need to leave the meeting and you can activate your microphone in a different application. Or if you're working with a cell phone, it's important that you have at least two devices because you need to be in the meeting. And at the same time, you're going to be recording something for 1 minute, maximum 2 minutes, explaining what you were able to understand, right, in that listening practice. I think that's going to help you a lot in the sense that we are going to see if you're understanding that correctly. We're going to try to improve your vocabulary, right, recognition skills. And we're going to have something interesting that is this section over here. It's I have to improve. In this section, the teacher, either it's going to be me, all right, or a different teacher you're going to be working with. It's supposed to write down all the words that you need to work in terms of vocabulary. If you were not able to recognize a word, that's going to be written down over here, and you're going to be working that word. If a word was pronounced in a bad way, right, it's going to be written down here, and you're going to need to work on your presentation. And every day, you're going to be asked about that word until you can answer correctly. If you pronounce the word correctly, or if you tell me, right, or tell the teacher the meaning of the word in a correct way, then the word is going to be deleted. If not, you're going to have that every day and every day, right, until you get that word. That's going to be a really interesting way, perhaps for you, of getting vocabulary, improving some weaknesses that you may have, all right? That's something I wanted to let you know. And this is the overall of the course with me. Every week, instead of having essays, you're going to have oral presentations, 10-minute oral presentations in class. You have to listen to your partner's presentations because it's going to be part of your score to ask questions and to answer the questions that they ask you. So you're going to be receiving a lot of questions to practice as well your speaking skills. And the first, the in-class activities, instead of writing, everything's going to be speaking. You're going to read vocabulary so that you can practice and learn more vocabulary. You read the word, you read the definition, and if you want, you can give an example as well. And besides that, after the listening exercises, you're going to record everything you were able to understand, and that's also something you need to upload in these kind of sections, all right, the upload sections. I don't know if you have any questions or comments in the way the course is going to be structured with me. Is there something that you would like to work? Try to make me some comments, please.
Sorry, teacher. I can hear you the last part.
Yes, I was asking you, right? Is there something you want to tell me? I told you, right? Try to make some comments. Do you have any comments or any questions related to this structure of how speaking is going to be?
No, teacher, I don't have a question about it, but I have a personal question for you.
Yes.
Okay. I spend I spend a lot of time in poor academics, in poor lecture, in poor exercise in other academics, and and I can't improve my English. I study for 2 years, but I don't feel like I improve. But I like your pronunciation, your level of your English. And could you give me some advices how I can to improve?
Yes, of course. First, I want to thank you. All right. Thanks for that comment, Whitney. Really, thank you for saying that. Yes, and that happens in any language you want to learn. When I was learning French as well, this is what I did. All right, in English is because I was surrounded by English since I was a child. I grew up listening to, music in English. Everything that I had around me, all right, was English, English only, and that helped me a lot. But for example, I can tell you what I did with French. French is something that I learned in only 1 2 years, and I got to have the one of the highest right levels that you can have in languages, which is C1 or C2. So what I did for French is what you can do for English as well. First is that everything you do, everything you think, everything you use has to be in the language you want to learn, right? But really, everything. Your computer, your Facebook, your Instagram, YouTube. Don't try. I stopped, all right, consuming Spanish products in the sense that I don't watch, for example, if I go to YouTube, I never watch anything in Spanish unless I have to do it. All right. In other ways and in other words, I only watch French content, English content. That's it. I don't allow myself to consume Spanish, let's say, or right production. Not because I'm radical, but if I want to learn, I do that. Secondly, the same. If I have a hobby that I like a lot, for example, music, I try to learn about that, about music, but always in the language that I want to learn. So I relate everything I do, my other hobbies, my other activities, everything, right, has to be in English. The way I learned those other things I want to do, it's also in English. And one thing that helps a lot, I don't know if you, well, perhaps you listen to a lot of music with me. I'm sure you do. Everybody does. But try to stop listening to music, all right, for some time. And instead of listening to music, try to download. Do you know what a podcast is, Whitney?
Yes.
Okay, try to download podcasts, but podcasts that talk about many topics. They talk about politics, economics, fashion, music, arts. All right, you have a lot of free podcasts, and instead of listening to music, try to spend 1 month or 2 entire months listening to those podcasts. But every time you wear your headphones, it's going to be this time, could be for listening to music for a while, but start listening to podcasts. Why? Because the difference between music, that I also love music, music is my life. But if you start listening to podcasts as much as you listen to some music, believe me that you're going to start understanding words just the way they are without knowing the meaning, just because of the context, because of the reaction of the other person. You're going to listen to different words so many times, or you're going to have the words in mind. And when you read a word similar to that one, you're going to be able to recognize the word immediately. All right. So working with podcasts is the best thing you can do. And it's even more efficient, all right, than movies and than series. Why? Because to work with movies and series, you need time. You need to sit down and you need to watch the movie, right? And you need to watch the series. And that's great. You can watch series and you can watch movies. But again, if you want to improve quickly, right? Because I understand that's going to be more or less the purpose. Podcast, all right? Listen to English, listen to conversations about any topics, and the best way of doing that is listening to podcasts. And again, change everything you have to English, from your cell phone, from everything you got. And something really interesting that seems to be kind of um, not logic. You can try to watch videos, all right, of people teaching other languages in English. For example, I improved also my English skills when I was learning French with a person who was teaching French but in English. So in that way, you're going to see that you also are able to recognize some vocabulary, to identify some things. You understand the new language, but you also understand that basic way of speaking English, and that helps a lot. So all those things are things that I can tell you to improve your English with me. And of course, try to get in contact with people who speak English. That's also very important. If you can apply everything that you're listening to, and you can have short conversations with people, go out, right? Go drink a beer or drink a coffee with someone and speak English. Just 5 minutes or 10 minutes could be, and that's going to be more than enough. Do that, and I believe that you're going to improve even more with me. I hope that information can help you, right? Because that's what I did.
Yes, teacher, thank you. But do you have some strategy when you study vocabulary?
The only thing, as I told you, first, my strategy is trying to listen into almost everything. For example, if I want to learn vocabulary related to politics, right? I first work with podcasts, right? I listen to conversations related to politics, and I do it every day, every day, every day. First, I don't understand many words, but it doesn't matter because first you have to be used to the words. You need to understand that sometimes they use that word, sometimes they don't. So first, listening. I listen to all the words, even though I don't understand, it doesn't matter. You have to get used to the word. And afterwards, I look for a list of, you can call it a specialized English or technical English in politics. And I start reading those words, right? I start to read 10 words or 20 words per day. And once I understand those words, then I listen to the same podcast or one more time. And this time I realized that I understand more, right? That I was able to understand the first time. So that's the strategy I use with me. First, I listen to a lot of conversations related to that specific area or field. Then I look for vocabulary. I start learning that vocabulary. Then I listen to the same podcast or to the same conversations, and I realize that I understand more. And I start using those words in some sentences. Then I do the same. I listen to more podcasts. I look for some other words. I memorize or I try to identify those words. I listen to the podcast again and again. Right? I realize that I'm understanding even better. That's more or less a strategy I use with me. It may help you if you do it that way. Perhaps you can learn more words than you think.
Okay, teacher, thank you so much. It's really important for me to know these strategies and advices. And in case if I don't take the next model, thank you so much. You're a great teacher, and I love your accent. Really, thank you so much, teacher.
Perfect. No, thank you, Whitney. Thank you for being nice. Thank you for those words again. And you're in the group, right? WhatsApp. If you have any questions, you just can let me know. Have a great night, and we'll be in touch with me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, teacher. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hello, good evening, Melissa. How are you? Sorry for making you wait.
Hello, Jose Luis. How are you? I'm good. No
That's
problem.
great. Great to know, Melissa. So today, it's going to be like the last contact we're going to have related to this course. And I want to do what I do, right? In terms of showing you a little bit about the next course. We're going to see this together, explaining some features this course is going to have. I already told you some, right? But perhaps I'm going to show you now with the real example. And I'm also going to be asking you some questions related to A13. All right. Do you agree with all that, Melissa?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, good. So, speaking, listening. The big difference, we are not going to be using any of those Google Docs, right, files. Why? Because we're not going to be writing anything this time. Everything's going to be only speaking. Instead of writing examples, you're going to be recording your examples. That I was telling your partners that it's important that you use either a laptop or if you use a cell phone, it's important to have two devices because while you are in the meeting, you're going to be recording some answers, right? And those answers have to be uploaded immediately to Google Classroom so that we can listen to that together, analyze those answers together with your partners, and of course, practice a little bit of these skills, speaking and listening. All right, that's the first thing. Also, instead of essays, we are going to have weekly oral presentations. The only thing you need to write, let's say quotation marks, write, is your PowerPoint presentation, but it's up to you. Your presentation can be made of words if you want, you can write something, or it can be made only by pictures, videos if you want. So it's up to you. Whatever you want to use in your presentation that is going to help you, right, speak, then you can use it. No problem on my side. That's it. That's the way the weeks are going to be structured. The first one is going to be speaking strategies, right? I'm going to tell you some tips related to paraphrasing, how not to look for specific words, the way you need to think when you're speaking. Then we have a second part because we have a lot of strategies, but also pronunciation the second time. You're going to be listening to different kinds of accents in English. You're going to be imitating those accents so that you can recognize the difference, right? In the words that you can read when you are American, when you are British, Australian, and so on and so forth. Then we're going to go to the TOEFL structure, which is only the structure for the oral presentation. You need an introduction. It means that you need to mention certain things in the introduction. You need to mention certain things in your explanation and to say something at in the conclusion, right? And the same, but with other tests. The one that I'm going to be using is the Cambridge. Again, the Cambridge has its own structure. We're going to be using some prompts so that you answer to specific questions related to that international test, and you're going to keep improving your oral and listening skills. That's it in terms of the explanation. Before going to the next part, I want to know if you have any questions related to this structure, Melissa.
No, teacher, everything is clear.
Good, very good. Something interesting that I didn't mention, you have this over here, I have to improve. Here I'm going to be writing all the words that perhaps you're going to be pronouncing in a wrong way, or all the sentences that are going to be right, let's say, spoken again in an incorrect way. So that we're going to be checking this every day, and everything is going to be there until you can do it correctly. If you show me that you do it correctly, the words or the expressions are going to be deleted. If not, they are going to be still there, and you're going to need to work with those words almost every class. All right, it's going to be a way to help you improve some words and to help you improve, right, the use of some pronunciation, of some expressions, sorry, and the way you structure some ideas. That's it. Now, I have a couple of questions before going to the A13 feedback related to speaking and listening. What are some strengths and weaknesses that you believe that you have in speaking, Melissa?
I think that some strengths that I have is that I don't know why, maybe because I grew up listening to music or reading some books or listen to English music. I'm not completely unfamiliar with the sounds of some words. I struggle with some words or some pronunciation skills, but I'm not unfamiliar with it. And I think that makes it easier to learn some new words or some new, I don't know, uh, tips for pronunciate or tips for trying to sound more native. So I think that my biggest strength is that almost everything that I consume in terms of media or what I read or watch is in English. So I'm pretty familiar with it in general.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Melissa. Again, it's important for me to know because I'm going to get certain kind of material and content that is going to try to help you with something that you're struggling with in this course. The next one is related to listening. The same question. Perhaps you already answered with that information that you gave me, but now specific to listening, only listening, Melissa. What are some strengths and weaknesses that you have with listening this time?
I think in the main four skills, probably listening is my strongest because I'm used to listen everything in English if that's the original language of the thing that I'm reading or watching or listen. So I think that I'm used to it. And also about accents, what you've said before, I think I'm not only related to American accent, but also the British one. That one is harder for me to understand sometimes, especially because it's not one type of British accent. For example, there are, I think, areas where I struggle the most, or a Scottish accent or Australian accent. Those are most difficult. But I think that I'm not bad at the time of differentiate those types of sounds. And also, I think that I'm good at listening to a certain type of speed. I was while I was waiting, I was listening what you were saying to Whitney, and I also listened to a lot of podcasts. For example, in the Spanish one, I listen to them in 1.25 speed, and I tend to listen the English one, the English spoken one is in 1.2, or sometimes when there are British, for example, I struggle the most, but I try to increase the speed so I can try to understand when someone is talking fluently. I don't know if someday I go to an English spoken country or like that.
Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you very much, Melissa. Yes, I noticed. I noticed that these two skills are not going to be actually problem for you, right? I noticed that you have experience in both, that you can express yourself, right? And that you show that you understand everything clearly. I remember when working with some videos, you were always right, the one giving me clear and concise information about you were able to what you were able to listen. So that's great. That's great, Melissa. Perhaps then this course is not going to be hard at all for you, but there's going to be some interesting things that you can learn in terms of organizing your oral presentation that you can apply to international tests. That's something that you can take out of this course that I believe it's going to be really useful for you. Great. Now, on the next question was related to accents. You already told me that one. It's good that you're related to those accents. You told me that yes, of course, in fact, there are differences, right? Not only in British accents in terms of the region, right? Also in American accents. You know that there are certain regions in the US that are, well, they are really, really hard to understand. Well, in contrast to other ones that are like the common American accents that we are used to. So we have a lot of accents right around the world. So I think that's clear over there. The next one, then, it's going to be first. First, before going to the A13 to close this conversation, I want to know if there is something, now that you tell me your experience with speaking, with listening, is there something that you would like to add to this course that you think that can help other students or yourself, right, to improve these skills and work even in a better way? What is something that you can add to this structure or to these contents that I was telling you about?
I know that a lot of teachers or people that speak more than one language always says that is not a goal to try to sound like a native speaker. And I agree with that, but I also think that it makes it easier to be understood. So maybe what I suggest is that we could practice to speak not more natively, if that is a word, but more without hesitation, or I don't know how to say that word in English, but without those obstacles, or I don't want to use the word in Spanish, but when you say or when you make a sound like you're doubting about what are you going to say, I think that we could work on that, because that is what I struggle the most. I always try to speak faster, but not in a way that the other person won't understand me. In fact, I want to be understood, but I also want to sound more confident, more confident about what I am saying, and I think that speed is a really big part of it, because I don't know, you sound more confident and like you know what you're saying, and I think that we can work on that, and we did on a previous course, I think, when we were trying to imitate the sounds or the pronunciation of a scene of a movie scene, and I think we can work more on that, to try to sound more native and to try to speak on a normal pace or on a normal speed.
Good, great. It's great that you mentioned that, Melissa. And you're right, yes. And actually, that's included here. And I'm going to tell you in this speaking strategies too, we are going to be learning this linked English, right? The English that doesn't use all the words, right? What you do yesterday, right? What you do yesterday. You're using did without using that did. So yes, it's great that you mentioned that again, because I'm going to try to even look for more exercises, but I got exercises almost for every class, in which first we're going to listen, we're going to identify the words, and then we're going to imitate that person. All right. First at a normal pace, and then we're going to be increasing the speed so that you, right, can challenge yourselves. All right. In the sense you're going to need to connect the words to make the pronunciation like more fluent. And yeah, I also agree in a sense what you were saying with the thing you were saying, that yeah, it's different, let's say the pronunciation and the accent, right? If you have a good pronunciation, you're going to be understood. It doesn't matter if you have an accent. But it's also interesting that you can improve your accent, because in a certain way, there are accents that are so strong that they like invade the pronunciation right field, and it's hard to be understood. So I agree with you. I'm going to try to right pay attention to that part as well. I think, but these exercises of imitating, knowing the difference between accents is going to help some people, right, recognize the differences. And we're going to imitate at least some neutral accents, of course, native accents, so that you can get, right, that not only the right pronunciation, but an accent that is more natural, let's say, right, more natural. Good. The last one, I think that's great. We're going to be working more on that, Ben, Melissa. And the last one, just to finish very shortly, A13. I just want you to give me a short feedback about A13 and Melissa. What you think in the course in terms of what are some positive things that you were able to get from this course, and what are some things that you would change?
I think the most positive thing that I could get from A13 was that I was probably for the very first time in my entire life pushed in some way to write in English and to write things that are not easier, some are not always easy, or I try to express my ideas in a more complex way. So I think that was a really positive thing, because I could try to write, for example, in the one that I wrote about my thesis, my thesis topic, which was employee experience. I was challenged to do that in other language. I tried to spoke about that in a very complex way in Spanish, but it was really pleasant for saying. Try to put it in another language and try to know more words and to able to get more vocabulary from it. And what I struggle the most, to be honest, is that especially with this type of words, I try to be humble here and not to be, I don't know. I know that I'm really good at listening and reading, and for example, in terms of what I could hear from other students, even from higher groups when I was taking these courses before. I know that I'm good at listening and reading, but I don't know any grammar or any English rules. And I think that this course really helped me in terms of punctuation, even grammar, or even the way that I could communicate in a more formal way. And that was really helpful because I think that I want to have a whole spectrum of skills in English, not only listening and reading one. And I think that I struggle a lot in terms of communicate the way that I want to, and this course really helped me with that.
Very good, Melissa. Thank you very much. Yes, it's great to know that. And yes, I realize that some of you struggled, but you did it great. But some of your partners struggle a lot with this one because I think this was a course in which everything was tested, right? Everything that you learned, the tenses, the rules, the ways of writing certain words, spelling. So everything was tested in this writing. Of course, we're not talking about speaking this time and listening perhaps, but in terms of everything you learned in Pearson, right, everything was like put into a challenge in this last course. But it's good to know that it was helpful for you. I'm glad to hear that one, Melissa. I think that's it on my side. I don't know if you have any final questions or comments to finish this conversation. Let me know, please.
No, so Luis, everything is clear. Thank you so much for this whole month. It was really helpful.
Great. That's great to know, Melissa. Then have a great night. I'm going to check all the essays and I'm going to let you know the results and the scores as soon as I can. All right?
Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
Thank you.